chuddy thing happened of the week. Well, it's not really chud, it's more like shameless grifting. Was Sugsy's...
Oh, the Insta got hacked.
And obviously her TikTok is completely fucked. So that's a real shame. But I mean, she got the Instagram back, so
she'll be fine. But especially because it was just as one of her videos on launching, and it's always like that kind of like promo push.
For a minute, I was like, new Tesla. I was like, hold on a minute, that's like, and I thought, what a Games Workshop salary before what she's doing. Surely there's no way she's bought a Tesla. I was like thinking, because they did the GW's annual financial report. I saw that. And I saw, who was it? What's the guy, X Games Workshop, that does the tournament stuff? I can't think of the name.
No, neither am I, so that's not going to help him.
Nice beard. He's been on the Pain Phase. Anyway, he was talking about the pay scale.
Yeah.
And the bottom...
It's like 21k, isn't it?
Bottom 25% of people working in stores is Games Workshop, which is also then stores.
Yeah.
It's 21k or just over. Top 25% on average is like over 35.
Yeah, which is still...
That's the top 25 average. What's the median? Because if you listen to us, we'll understand statistics. The mean, the average, is not the same as the median. The middle value must be 40?
Even that, though, because you know how many like quite senior accountants and and developers are going to be working for Games Workshop at that level, and the kind of going wage that's going to be on there. I mean, I do have friends and people that have worked in that area. I'm scared to ask them.
Yes, I know, right?
I mean, they're no longer working there, so I'm guessing it wasn't enough.
Well, before I did my PhD, I got asked by the area manager if I wanted to apply to be a manager at Games Workshop. I was like, go for the PhD, not happening. No.
Well, you kind of like when you're reading between the lines when you're listening to, especially like Peachy and the folks he gets on a painting phase, and they're kind of like talking around, like they're like doing 3 or 4 jobs at once.
Oh, I know, right?
And they're still like quite keen to leave and start up YouTube money
and supplementing it with like doing freelance painting on the side. Is just like, and they'd be painting on the side for like the Perry. So I was just like, think this is madness. This is actual madness. Because, I mean, true, apparently GWCAO is only earning 52 times the salary of the lowest earning person at Games Workshop, which compared to other companies apparently is modest. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. Anyway, if you're really into socialism and the topics of how we need to start a class war, well, then welcome to the Realm of Fire podcast. I'm one of the regular hosts, Chris, and I'm joined by my friend and new host for this, Marc. Hello.
Hello.
Obviously, if you listened to Dark Days Radio before, you understand that we like war games, everything Warhammer, and talking shit about the Warhammer settings and other war games. We're going to try and keep the vibe as much in vain of the wonderful work that Brendan and Rob did with the original incarnation of Realm of Fire. And the reason why it's been brought back is because after the pandemic, I'm finally back playing war games.
And war games are fun again.
War games are fun again. Because, well, I mean, do we start? We're not going to start with talking about 10th edition because I've not even played a game yet. But yeah, war games are fun again. There's a lot of cool shit out. And before we get into that, who the fuck are you? What's your wargaming kind of like background?
Right. Well, hi, I'm Marc. I'm Aquarius. And, well, for like last... I almost aged myself. I started 40k back in 2nd ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that beautiful box set with the Monopose Marines. And
which I have one of right here.
I have got...
The 90s Marine challenge.
I still have all mine, and I'm tempted to strip one. Because I have one now to keep me humble. I have on my painting desk, which is one of my original Blood Angels, which is a really lovely, lumpy Blood Angels red.
Oh wow!
And really.
So technically orange.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's powerful. It's potent.
Wow.
But yeah, like most people, dropped in and out of Games Workshop as their prices scared me. Drifted back in just around Dark Imperium time.
Oh.
Kind of got lured in by that box set because it's quite pretty.
So you had a break between the year 1990...
I stuck it out for a while, kind of coming in and out, but it's mainly been hovering around.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3 factions like Dark Eldar and Eldar for forming off whenever I kind of... Someone mentions it, it's that you never clean a Warhammer.
No, you never...
The plastic crack never leaves your bloodstream, and someone mentions it at a party or something, and just you think going, well, I've still got those in a box somewhere in my cupboard. Maybe I could just dig them out and just see which of my paints have not dried up. You know, just the first one, it'll be fine.
Well, if they're the hex bottles, they won't have dried out on those ones. Whereas if they're the bullet shell casing ones, they will have fucking dried out.
They were gone.
They're terrible. I remember when they came in when I was... That was 3rd edition.
Yeah.
So they carried on until... While I was still working at games, fucking awful. We just had to keep... Like, you'd open up the shop carry case of paint. You'd be like, well, that's another paint dry. And another one. You'd be, like, replacing 10 almost a month, maybe?
They just did not seal properly. It was yeah. Well, I mean... encourage people to keep their painting range mobile and agile.
Oh yeah, and plus, what was it? Because they said on the paint face the plastics for the pot were actually porous.
Yeah,
I was just like, what? Anyway, so 2nd edition.
Yeah, drift along
into 3rd.
Yeah, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah,
and then
Kari. So
yeah, tailed off 4th. Got back in briefly around 6th or 7th.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine, because I was living down in Cheltenham for a while, and a friend of mine was kind of gently nudging me, and I made the awful mistake, because you shouldn't do this to a friend. I bought a Grey Knight's Army.
It has no motive.
The only thing we know for sure is that he's not a vegetarian.
And these poor orcs.
God.
Because I am by no means a power gamer, and I do not enjoy that side of the game, and I do not enjoy that kind of thing, but I got what I thought was cool for a Grey Knight's Army in like 5th, 6th, whatever really that was, and that was like height of the Matt Ward awfulness, where it's just those cybolts on everything just tearing through his poor orcs, and
that's terrible. And did you ever dabble with any of the other systems?
A lot of Necromunda. I adore Necromunda, and a lot of Fantasy Battle as well.
Yeah,
a bit of Mordheim back in the day, but it was always 40k that kept.
Yeah, cool. And then if everyone's... Well, God, this is like repeating ad nauseum where I began. So yeah, 2nd edition, a friend got it for Christmas. So that'll be 1994.
Gosh.
And then played that a little bit. That wasn't my first actual purchases though. It wasn't 40k. It was actually Epic. Was the Epic Eldar Legion. Back when it was £5 for 4 sprues of Eldar.
I remember those cute little boxes like... Yeah.
All it was Eldar Guardians and Falcon Grav tanks, like
all the little shoebox ones. Yeah, I love those.
and then I basically saved up with my part-time work. I say part-time, like I was working 9 to 5 when I was like
in
50.
The pits.
No, but after school job. I wasn't in the pits. It was Herefordshire, so that'd be like
on the farms, picking taters.
Yeah, and killing orcs. Down the way of Shobden, Kington's deepest, darkest, worst part of Herefordshire. So because Tyranids were new, like if you think about when that was. So I saved up and I bought what at the time was £100 worth of Tyranid, which was actually quite a fucking lot because that was like a codex, and then if you buy all the metals you require, the Gene Stealers and Termagants came free because it was something like spend 40 quid, get a £5 box for free. So you do that enough and you ended up with, enough Termagants and Gene Stealers to shake a stick at. And that was my first proper 40k army.
I think there's a whole portion of the audience that are like younger than us that would never believe that Games Workshop used to do sales.
Yeah, I know. Right?
And offers.
And then after that, obviously, Epic Space Marine, Epic Titan Legions. I had an Eldar army, Necromunda. I had a Spire gang because I was a dickhead. Spires I miss. And then Warhammer, I collected a Chaos Army, and that was when they brought out the multi-part Chaos, who just did not rank up and really hunched over.
Yeah, the really weird ones with the... It was
fucking
like
awful.
one of the first multi-part fantasy kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember those.
And they were fucking awful.
Yeah.
The Marauders were pretty good miniatures. I mean, they're still in rotation,
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. So those miniatures are like, what, almost 30 years old. And then went to university, worked at Games Workshop, bought too many other armies. Tau, they were new on the block. Tomb King's army. Because
do you still have that? Because if you
no, I wish I did. I wish I had everything from them, because a Tomb King's army would be perfect right now. And then and I think after that it's like, you just get burnt out working at Games Workshop with like, you collect it, because I had a Chaos Army and Nurgle Army and shit like that. It's just like and then dabbled with other things, so Confrontation, War Machine, and then had a break for a while, and then got back in while I was in Germany with War Machine 3rd edition, or would it be second, third? I lose track. But it was when they brought out the second ed of the roleplay, and then it's just been since then, like spending more and more of my salary on plastic shit.
And just the audience at home, Chris is looking at a pile of box sets that's about half my height. So
there's a box of Gorka Morka that I got pristine off eBay for 40 quid.
That is one of my
few years back.
That is one of my favourite Games Workshop games ever made.
I think it'd be really good with the new Necromunda turn sequence. It would work much better. One thing, because I've also got somewhere Gangs of Camorra that we've played that's really good fun.
It's quite a nice little game, that.
And of course, most importantly, and which is I think when we get to the next topic, is Warcry, which I fucking love. So game update, like what the fuck have you been playing?
Mainly Horus Heresy 2nd edition.
So that's based on 7th ed? 40k?
It's 2 steps removed at this point, because the 1st edition of Horus Heresy was a updated version of the 7th ed rules, and now this is a updated version of that with a few extra bits on top, a few refinements, and a alternating reaction mechanic, which is like each of the phases you can take 1 or 2 actions during the opponent's turn.
Okay.
Which is when it works, it's really nice, and it keeps the game dynamic. It keeps you paying attention during the opponent's turn. There's a lot of strategy there on both sides, where you're trying to bait certain units to react, so you can give them with other ones and things like that. When it works, it's really fun. And I mean, Games Workshop is not perfect, and some of them are way overbalanced, and some factions have got ways of cheesing that out and just it's way too many. But it's really fun. As long as you're not trying to play it too seriously, and you're kind of playing it with friends or as part of a narrative campaign, it's working really nicely.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your main crack.
Yeah.
And then my obsession for the last oh my god, it's obviously when you have actual lives, running a campaign takes much longer. But yeah, Necromunda has been really fun, really vicious. So I've been running my Enforcer gang. They've been executing people quite happily. I've got to kill a few more people so I'm almost at the top of the ranking of killed the most enemy gangers.
I feel like quite a lot of American police departments have similar statistics they run in the background.
Oh yeah. I mean, they just don't have bolt guns, fortunately. But yeah, it's really been a lot of good fun. I'm kind of like getting into the mood of where to introduce like the more narrative scenarios, because it's one of those things like you go, is that going to be a bit unbalanced, or is that going to be a bit unfair to one of the gangs? Kind of like it's Necromunda. Nothing is balanced in that game because there's so many options. Balance is meaningless. It's like complete nonsense. So
does it reach a zen state though, where because nothing is balanced, everything is?
Yeah,
because when Heresy works, because there's so many random units in that are just ridiculous. But as long as nobody's trying to cheese it out and everyone's just kind of taking things a little fun, it kind of balances out.
I'll tell you what I fucking hate though is House Cawdor. They can go. So Ian's House Cawdor can go in the fucking bin because.
But one thing's for certain.
We gotta get bigger guns.
It ain't no pushover.
You've got because their favourite weapon is flamers, and some of them will have flame weapons with fuel, and some of them will have one-shot flame. And so you just get flame templates across the fucking board, and everyone in your gang is either getting pinned or set on fire, which basically means they run round in a random direction, then go pinned as you try and roll to see if they get the flames put out. And just, no, fuck that shit. So whenever I've been up against that gang, I'm pretty adamant that I will grenade the fuck out of them in the future, because I've upgraded, because we're at the halfway point in the campaign. So we've done 250 credits, to spend on extra gangers. I bought one ganger. He has a big fucking shield. He has a shock maul. I spent the rest of the credits on rebreathers and infrasight, so I can smoke grenade and snipe people, because that's cool. And then my vehicle, because we've spent 400 creds each gang on vehicles and shit. So I've bought a rock grinder with a twin-linked autocannon. So I'm just like, sod this. If I see a house corridor, I will fuck their shit up.
I'm guessing you're pulling the scenarios out into the ash waste now, because I can't imagine you driving a rock grinder through the...
Oh no, we're going into the ash waste. So we're going to have a mix of missions that are in... So we're playing this idea like a bit of Necromunda has been reopened, rediscovered, and then they've discovered the gate that leads into the wastes. So there's now a new trade route, and so the enforcers are obviously having to go pay your taxes, because obviously, and everyone else is like, fuck that shit. So we're going to do a first narrative scenario. It's going to be a road race to apparently some archaeotech. So it's a rolling road scenario. There's going to be rock grinders and, I don't know what the Collins squats are going to be driving in. Mostly a rock grinder. I think everyone's going rock grinders, while also some of the Corda have got those leggy dune walkers.
Yeah.
And of course the, I don't know what the Escher, I'm sure the Escher will have something fun to drive around in, like something fast.
I mean, those jet bike models are real cute.
They are pretty sweet. And then, of course, the Ashways Nomads are going to be chasing them all on their little giant fleas.
Is this just a long con for you to kind of gradually switch this into a game of Gokamaka, though?
Yeah.
It's just less and less terrain.
Well, it's surprising, because I've read over the rules for the vehicle rules for Necromunda. It's actually simpler than Gorkamorka, which is interesting. So yeah, that's gaming. Other than, I think it will kind of bring us into the main one of the main topics. We played Warcry.
We did.
So we should talk about Warcry. So, what do you like about Warcry?
I like the fact that you were able to show me the rules in about 20 minutes, and I felt like
Yeah, it was literally your third activation. You were like, I know how this game works.
Like, in comparison, I'm on my second long-term campaign of Horus Heresy 2nd Edition. I I have no idea what I'm doing with the rules.
Yeah, whereas like Necromunda, you can be on your 10th fucking game of it and still be like, how does knockback work? I'm still confused on knockback. I'm still confused on Blaze. I have to check it. But now we have the giant piece of armour, the Necromunda rulebook. It's much
improvised weapon.
Yeah, they have done. We'll get to that though, another thing. But yeah, Warcry. So obviously, there's a new intro box coming out for it, which I think is pretty cool because they've just reboxed to Underworld's warbands.
Yes, which I'm glad they're doing because those warbands are getting real hard to get hold of now.
I've got the Xandir's. No, it's not Xandir. They're not Curse Breakers. What is it? Xandir's. No,
the Stormcast one.
Yeah, something.
All the Stormcast-like factions.
I've got the Partworks Stormbringer.
Yeah.
Stormbringer, so I've got them, and I've already got the vampires, so it's like, okay.
No, I think I might pick it up because I don't have any. I've got the Warcry call book from a while ago, but I don't have any of the start stuff. I don't have any dice or anything. So
yeah,
and I want those vampires because I have a Soulblight army for Sigmar anyway. So
sweet.
So that'll merge in quite nicely.
That'll be really fun. That's a lot of different warbands you can do with it. Yeah. That is. But pretty cool.
I am definitely bringing the Flesh Eater Corpse faction now when it's getting released on its own next week because those models are gorgeous.
So yeah, so Warcry you can learn in no time, but how? Because I've been trying to really nail down mechanically why it feels different to any other GW game or any other war game generally.
It's got a lot in common with Frostgrave and Stargrave, which are like war game tabletop versions of RPGs with a lot of the RPG stuff taken out. Like the choices it makes are clever.
Yeah.
And the the way the stats cards are laid out is really nice, and the double system is really intuitive and nice. It's basically a lot of really smart decisions built around a nice, solid but simple framework.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it could be the basis for quite a few other games in the future.
Definitely. I've not played much of the new Kill Team.
No, I've not even touched it yet. Yeah. And I've got like 4 fucking Kill Teams.
I mean, if I start shaking all my really useful storage boxes, I'm going to be able to get a few Kill Teams out of it.
We should play it, but I keep looking at it and I'm like thinking, why isn't this kind of like... Because it has again, like the fighters that have multiple wounds. Like I say multiple wounds, they actually have like hit points.
Yeah.
And you have action points. So actually in that respect, it's a bit more than... Like fighters can have more actions even than in Warcry, but there's something that's not gelling with me and I don't know what it is.
I mean, it's so stupid, but for me when I was looking at the new Kill Team, just the abstraction of the ranges and the hit rolls with colours and shapes, I know as I play it, it's going to be fine when my brain will click around it, but just see that on paper, my poor little ADHD brain just looks at that and goes, that would be better if it was in Japanese.
I was like wondering whether that's... I've been trying to think of why they went with that. And
most of their choices recently for their specialist games have been to save money on print costs, because that's one of their biggest expenditures.
Yeah.
So if they can cut corners for printing for foreign language copies, that's...
Well, that's why Warcry has... Because you only have to replace then in a pack the abilities card.
Yeah.
And that's staggering, that thought process. But yeah, Warcry, I always keep coming back to it, and it's like, you know in Necromunda, when you get... Someone gets wounded... They're on the ground or dead, pretty much. Multi-wound people in Necromunda are pretty special. 40k, again, most things are 1 wound and dead, unless they're a Marine. 2 wounds doesn't really make much difference because there's multi-damage weapons out there. Or lots of guns at once, and big monsters. And Warhammer, again, well, I say Warhammer, Age of Sigmar again, is kind of that vibe. But Warcry just feels really like you can't... It's pretty hard to one-shot someone, and they're still useful. And the other thing is, with Warcries, you can do stuff where even a move into engaging someone is meaningful, and that seems really doesn't seem Warhammer, if that makes sense.
Now, there's a few bits around it that don't play into how Games Workshop normally make their games, which, I mean, this is someone that loves a lot of Games Workshop games, but to be reductive, a lot of them are coin flip.
Yeah.
You could replace a lot of mechanics in most 40k games, or most Games Workshop games, with a coin flip, and it wouldn't really change much. And that's one of the reasons I don't enjoy Games Workshop games for like a tournament setting, because it feels you're just having to min-max the edge cases they didn't take into consideration just to weight those coin flips, and that's all that kind of play usually comes down to in the end. And whereas like stuff like this, and even Underworlds does it to a degree, because there's very little penalty for death. It's just a reward for your opponent. It's mitigating that coin flip to be, it's more about your positioning and the objective of the game. And especially because both of those games, they tie down things like the position of the tabletop, and like the missions and stuff are all preset and pre-written, and one would hope somewhat balanced.
Yeah.
And it's all that playing into that way. It's just less of that, which is silly because every game I play's got dice in it, and every game has that kind of random element, but it's mitigating that somewhat.
Yeah, I think you get it. I don't know. Maybe Warcry feels less. I'm trying to think like when you get the spikes of the damage or whatever you're doing, it feels more of a moment.
Yeah. Because
it's that one fighter suddenly spiking the damage. You're like, oh wow, they actually killed that person in one go. And I think there's just something about how they've baked combat down to one roll, and it's that balance between the strength, toughness, and then how many wounds it's got versus how much damage. It's so hard to still grasp how they got that balance right, because it is, and again, you listen to Peachy wax lyrical about it on paper. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it really is.
And the fact that you can actually play with all the downloads, you can play any faction with pretty much all the models that are available right now is madness. I find it like you can also play like, you know, I'm trying to think of the thing. What's the Stormcast thing on the Griff Charger?
Yeah.
Like you can fucking field them. I'm like, that's a massive model in Age of Sigmar, but you can field it as like a 200 point to something like 250 points for your army. I'm like, or even crazier, you could go, you're playing vampire counts. You could have in there a your undead dragon if you wanted.
Well, I'm looking for that Flesh Eater Cots box set. So.
Oh yeah, shit! You do get the Terragast. Oh wow, yeah. So you're getting the starter for the Flesh Eater Cots.
Because I've been wanting to start a Flesh Eater Cots force for Sigmar for years, but most of those models can busted. I wanted to get the Underworlds box set, the force, because that's beautiful, like most of the Underworlds little gangs are, but that is no longer available anywhere.
Bollocks.
Because Games Workshop had done quite a good job of, as the seasons have rolled out of Underworlds and the box sets are no longer available, they just quietly put those sprues in as faction expansions on made to order or made on available on the website, and they've just not done that with these. Which means they are now gone and going for like 60-70 quid on eBay, which I am not that fussed for like 5 models. So
no, that's really bad.
But I'm going to get that start collecting while it's still available, because those old start collectings are really good value for money still.
Oh god, yeah. So any other like hot takes on Warcry from your limited play of it?
Oh, my grand total of one game and then reading through the rulebook. It's just real nice. It's streamlined and straightforward. But yeah, it does. I mean, Games Workshop do this a lot, where a lot of their games feel like a response to other companies' games. And when you see that, you kind of things click into place a bit. And it's pretty obvious that someone's either had to go on Stargrave and Frostgrave and I'm like, this is good, but what can we do with this? Or they've just finally played like a 5th edition or something for a bit and go like, okay, activation's quite nice. I mean, like 2 activation rounds, but we've had these rules in like Space Hulk had activation points, and it always has, which is
I've got a box of Space Hulk and I've not played it in, like, I've not actually played that edition. I just have it because I painted it.
I think I had the box set of the second edition Space Hulk, and we played that to death, and we were like making our own, like me and my brother and all our friends made like our own little spin-off rules of that, where like a basically death match where everyone got 2 models.
Well, funnily enough, when we were playing Necromunda back in the olden days, my mate had also set the 2nd edition Space Hulk, and it was the 1st edition of Space Hulk, and we used that for tunnel fighting for Necromunda. So it's funny what happens in the end.
What goes around comes around. It's always there.
Right, 40k. What is your first impressions of 40k then?
Well, I think it's going to go far. I think it's going to go well. I've heard good things about these Space Marines. No, Leviathan looks. I've got the rule book. It looks. It's gorgeous, and like just flicking through the rules, they look nice. I'm not had a game because I tried actually absorbing the rules and realised that the heresy rules are falling out of my brain the same rate I was putting in 10th edition rules. Yeah. So. It turns out having like very similar games that are just a few editions apart, loading your brain.
I will say it's been easier to read than the previous edition. Yeah. And I had the rulebooks and everything for the previous edition. I just never had there was never an inclination to actually like get stuff together to play it. And I don't know why. It was just, there was something about it that felt kind of impenetrable with all the stratagems.
I was about to say, if you're just having a mess around game with someone that doesn't know how to play and you're just showing the basic, it's fine. It's like every game of 40k. But the second you start doing the stratagems and the relics and layers of stuff on top, it's just...
Whereas they seem to have like gone, here's the generics, and you literally have, you have like 3 or 4 stratagems per army, and you pick, if you want to use those with it, you have to pick like 2 or something. Yeah. Like you have, so it feels like you have to make meaningful choices
to a degree,
but they're not going to dominate the game.
But it's the weird thing around the fact that weapon options aren't really costed anymore in units.
Yeah,
because now there's no reason not to just go max on everything that's remotely good, and that's going against. I mean, this is like, just because we've played for so long, it feels wrong.
That does feel wrong.
And especially because all my armies I now have to like look and go, oh, do I want to put lightning class?
But isn't the rub of that in a tournament anyway? If I would say this for tournament players, you would, having everything with like what you consider the best option. There's always going to be encounters where those aren't actually the best option, because you're going to be like, you've put lightning claws on Terminators, but surely having a lot more guns would have been better. Or
I think with most of these, we're going to be speccing them for the use that they are best at stats wise, and then rinsing that by attaching characters that give buffs to that, and then putting that in a scenario where it's fighting something that's going to debuff from adjacent units. It's one of the frustrating things about Age of Sigmar that I can get out of kind of Beer Hammer is that it's all about overlapping buffs and debuffs. And kind of, I mean, all war games come down to putting the right tool against your optimal victim, and then just chaining that enough of your units to have an advantage. But it feels like, again, it's minimal like use of this because I've not even played a goddamn game, but it does feel like it's very heightened with this, especially the way that points are done now. Because you have to have your very set unit of like big chunks like 5, 10, whatever. You have to, and then your weapon choices are: do you want to have all of the best gun or all of the best sword? Oh, this has got +3 to fighting, so I'm going to give them all the best sword. And that's kind of getting away from some of the more broken stuff, which will get patched, I'm sure. Like, I don't know if you've seen anything about the towering rule, where certain units like knights and titans have got basically the towering rule eliminates cover.
Yeah.
So pretty much every Eldar player now is just taking 3 knights.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Deleting everything from the table. It's just...
That's bonkers. Yeah. Wow, that's really
like
terrible.
Two of my friends had like quite serious games over the weekend. They're both like complaining about having to fight 3 Wraith Knights. I was like, oh, it's like back in 6th and 7th edition. It's great.
I say, turning to my cupboard of nonsense over here, we will have to get a game in because we can do Combat Patrol. Do you have anything that counts as Combat Patrol?
I've got a Dark Angels Combat Patrol.
As in the current box?
Yeah. Well, I've got a Dark Angels army, and I can build. I've got the units that go in the Combat Patrol.
Because we can field the Sisters of Battle.
Nice.
There we go.
Very cute.
And I've got the Necrons to finish off because I've got the Tripody, Deathwalky,
Treyarch, Deathstalk. I can't.
And I've got the other leader unit that you need for them. So that's the plan. I've built the Tyranid Combat Patrol from Leviathan and the Carnifex, which is amazing. It's like I feel, because also the way units are presented feels better because now you do realise, I think, obviously with Age of Sigmar literature, it's like showing the ballistic skill or the weapon skill separate to the weapon became really redundant. It's not like Necromunda. So
no, I do like the data slates that they have. They are beautifully laid out and they kind of make sense. And I've not actually bought any index card packs, but when I
what you mean the Space Marine doorstop, which weren't like some of those almost on day one, and like errated and
they've just delisted about half that range now. I'm like. If you've bought any of the recent Space Marine Codex for the last couple of editions, they've been getting thicker and thicker, and they're not so much thinner than the Necromunda rulebook, the last one. But like, I am astounded they didn't do this like 2 or 3 months ago. I think the only reason they didn't is because if they'd led into Leviathan by getting rid of half of the classic Marines,
kicks up a shit,
kicked to a shitstorm. But it is kind of.
But like, it has to. I mean, they have to reduce. They can't support the range indefinitely, and it's like.
I do have to wonder how much of Games Workshop's plastic like warehouse space is taken up just by Space Marine models.
That's a good point. Like, how much of like maintaining that because they've had to, because apparently people buy this stuff like the old miniatures still gets in the way of like stocking and manufacturing like shit people want that goes outside.
Like my Underworlds thing that I was just complaining about not being able to get.
Yeah, right.
That's like one little spruce this big.
So yeah, maybe that's the point. That's the point. That's the key. Games Workshop will keep shit in stock if they stop manufacturing Space Marines.
That's fine. In like 5 years' time, Chris, they'll bring out a new box set. It'll be Horus Heresy version 3, The Scouring, and they'll bring back all these classic, classic like Space Marine models and repackage them, slap an extra zero on the price of them all because inflation will be like 200 times over that much. And everyone like, wow, I can't believe I get a chance.
Does Horus Heresy have a proper Horus Heresy tax on it compared to mainline 40k?
Not that bad.
Oh, thank fuck.
It's just the boxes are bigger, so you pay more. Wow. I mean, you can spend like RRP for all the box sets is £50, but you're getting 20 Marines in there, so it balances out. But you are spending £50 on a box of Space Marines.
Fucking hell. So we need to organise a game, and so we can actually talk about 40k rather than having hot takes about it. But I mean, I do find it easier to look at, and the stuff I do like about the turn is like, was it Endless Swarm on Termagants? It feels characterful, so we'll see how it goes. If they can keep to their, one rule in, one rule out, I want to see how long that lasts for.
It never does, because
no.
every single edition, like, it's got streamlined elegance, it's going to be simple, and then, like, but we're going to add this mechanic on top, and then by the end, it's always 7th edition, I think it was 7th, like, basically like, well, if you take this build, you get half your army free, and if you don't take that, like, I think my poor Admech army I think about 30% of my army was just basically for free. So anyone who was playing that didn't have I can't remember what they're called, the formations that gave you that free stuff, it's like, well, you're basically having a 30% point disadvantage. And that was just,
I will say the whole reason why I've really not wanted to play Age of Sigmar recently is the same problem. Like, you open up a book, and it's like, what is it? You choose your warlord.
Yeah.
No, hold on, you choose your army. So there's a whole list of abilities, you pick one up from there. Then you choose the sub-faction of your army. So let's say you do Stormcast, then you choose Celestial Warbringers, so there's another ability. Then you choose your Warlord, who has to have an ability, might have an ability choice, or like you pick a relic or a weapon for, and you do that for every hero.
Yeah.
And then you got to choose the spells for your wizards.
Yeah.
And then,
if you've built your army to a certain way that fits with one of the formations, then you get bonuses. But I think the best way of playing a lot of these games, if you just wanted to put someone on the table, is just to say, hey, we're just going to play with either factions or sub-factions, and then you just do that, and it's fine.
I say this because I've got like literally 2,000 points of Stormcast and Nighthorns.
I've got loads of death. I want to bring my Nighthorns, I want to bring my sword.
Well, this is why we play Warcry. And our answer is, this is why you play Warcry, because Warcry lets you play with every fucking model in a game that takes 1 hour if you know the rules really well, which, even if you don't know the rules very well, still only takes you an hour and a half, which is a selling point. It is a selling point in this day and age.
Maybe that's the solution to all these big box like Games Workshop games. You just stop reading the rules. You just you read the basic rules and the basic army building stuff. You go, do you know what? That's fine.
Well, wasn't this said when they brought out whichever edition? I know Mike said this. It was like, it was brilliant before they started bringing out the code where you just had for ninth when they just had the indices. That was it. And Mike said he's been playing 3rd edition 40k out of the back of the book.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's going to fall into the same holes. We'll still with the same problem we're having with Horus Heresy, where as long as everyone's coming to it from the same angle, it's going to be beautiful and fine. Everyone's going to have a great time. But the second one person goes, that's undercosted and broken, I'm going to take 4 of them.
Well, that's the point of. I mean, that's where that's the rub between. Are you trying to play it competitively, or are you trying to play it for a narrative? If you're trying to play it for a narrative, you go, we know that's broken. That's not going to lead to a fun challenge. So you don't do that. Whereas if you go, I'm playing a tournament, you're going to do that because I don't know, because it's one of the things I've watched things about tournament play, and I'm kind of like, I get everyone trying to have a nice vibe about, you make new friends, fine if you're good people and you play nicely and stuff. But there's a point where I feel like I can see it where it's like, you've turned this into a job, and I'm not interested in a job.
It's when you start seeing the tournament players like positioning games they play, and it's a different game on top of the game.
Yeah,
that is playing in areas that the rules writers of Games Workshop never anticipated, because they're more inclined to play like Beer Hammer than I am. Yeah. When you hear them talking about when they play the games, and when you watch their demonstration games, and they're kind of forgetting half the rules they wrote.
Well, trust me, when it came to like fucking intro game day. When they brought out a new edition of whatever the fuck. It was like when I was working in GW Ultra, it was like, fuck, I know these rules inside out yet? No way. Or better yet, when I started working, Lord of the Rings, let's say it had been 2 Towers intro game just been released.
That's a really nice rule set.
And I was like, I don't know this fucking game. And I can remember my mate was like, just 4+. And I was like, oh right, yeah, okay, 4+ for that. 4+ to wound, done.
It's really. I reread that rule book quite recently, and it's really nice as a rule set. It's like it's one of the easiest to just kind of read and kind of get a feel for, like, that's how that plays.
Well, it's still didn't it get reused for other things? Yeah, it got reused. The rule set got reused for Wild West, for Warhammer Agents Wild West.
I've never touched that at all.
there was that, and they did a few other ones based off it. Whereas, like, obviously, War Master is Black Powder, and that got reused for Warhammer Ancients, and that's it. I mean, side kind of tangent. UK Games Expo, ROK Miniatures, ROK Miniatures, do some really good proxy War Master miniatures. It's like 60 quid, and you can get three. I think are they 3D printed? I think they are all 3D printed.
I've seen some obscenely cheap 3D printed ones.
And it's like, there's an undead army, there's an empire army, and it's basically War Master. And I'm like, great, I can play War Master because that was an amazing rule set.
I had some of the models, but I never played a game.
It's so good. Well, it gives you. You know how sometimes Warhammer on paper sounds better than Warhammer when you play it. War Master, so simple, but tactically you get. Oh, there's the cat going mad. You get all the right things where you get. You get like cartwheeling of the army. So if you try and outflank, they just start
dance.
Yeah, they go into a little spinny dance, and I've seen that happen. And it's like, evidence that it's a great simulationist kind of rule system.
Well, next time I see one of those cheap armies pop on Etsy or eBay, I'll learn.
Yeah, I will definitely be getting some of that. Right, where are we on time? Oh, we've got plenty of time. We've got still 15 minutes or more to wrap this up. Okay. So epic. Okay, let's cut to the chase because they're actually just showing off like today the
actual rules. Yeah,
it's epic. It's epic Space Marine second. Well, it's just epic Space Marine.
Yeah,
it's what they just shortened they just adjusted the ranges of things.
It's in inches now, not centimeters.
Ooh, because blue whippy sticks are out.
Has it got the extra 3mm from Warcry?
That's a fucking brilliant errata. That is such a fucking brilliant. So that was in what's that? That's in the new starter box, isn't it? Warcry. That the range reeler is 3mm too long on the end, so the first inch is too long.
Is that tournament legal though? Is it falling into that same?
I've fucking taken it to a tournament
because like the cardboard dreadnought from the second issue box, that's still tournament legal.
Yeah.
So
epic. Like, how do you feel that it's second edition epic? Basically,
I mean, it's a solid rule set from what I played, and it's just, I mean, the devil's gonna be in the details.
Yeah,
and it's like, but from the look of it, the floor looks nice, and the list building looks a little more natural than some of the bits from Epic. But
classic Epic with the little detachment cards was a pain in the fucking arse.
Yes, it was.
Is it? I mean, I will say, I really enjoyed Epic 40,000, and I've said this Standing Chambers numerous times. I thought it was a fucking great rule set.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I don't know why people were so aggressively like hating on it.
I think because everyone has their favourite version of Epic.
Of course.
And everything that isn't that is wrong and bad.
Because it had like great mechanics of like, because of obviously the way how firepower worked to do blast markers, how that affected morale, and that then affected how those things fought.
As a system, that's really elegant, and I wish more Games Workshop games would rip that off because it worked really well for
Well, yeah, if they just bring back Battlefleet Gothic just as is, we'd be happy. But I think the thing which will make the decision for me on Epic is how far they rein in the rules for Titans, because we have Adeptus Titanicus, which is a fucking amazing. I love that rule set because you can actually simulate other games with it. But what I don't want in Epic is the Imperator Titan management sheet where you had to generate plasma and then allocate the plasma counters to the weapons and to the shields.
You don't want to be playing Titanicus while you're trying to play Epic at the
same
time.
No, fuck that shit. That would be, that just, no, I'm just thinking about that. Like, literally, I remember my friend who had Epic Titan Legions, we were playing it, and he had to have, we were playing Epic on the floor, because that's the only way you can get a 6 foot by 4 foot table to play Epic. And he had to have like the coffee table to manage his Titan. And I was just like, it was madness, absolute madness. There you are, like 15 years old, trying to manage this stupid rule system.
Hey, those life skills will be with you for the rest of your life.
Oh, and also, I was looking at a PDF of Space Marine, up, down, left, right, the targeting dice.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, right? What the fuck is that about?
I think about a PTSD flashback there.
I was just like, oh no. Like, so you have to... Because that was really bonkers, because it was like you aim at something, you shoot at it, if you hit, you have to choose a square that's visible, and then roll the dice to see what square on the thing you actually hit, which means you could actually still miss, which, what's the point in that? If you've hit, surely. Or, if it's behind cover, if it's a box that's something that portion of the time that's behind cover, then you've hit the building. It's like, so what was the point of the roll to hit in the fucking first place?
I'm getting flashbacks from my recent games Heresy, which has brought about the scatter dice, which has been real fun.
Oh, well then you love Adeptus Titanicus. Titanicus is scatter dice. But that's great because it's fun firing volcano cannons that delete entire units of knights. That's the game style. No, I think, and like obviously Necromunda, like scatter templates are great. I think it's just that we're in that world where we've got mainline 40k has no templates. I don't know how I feel about that still. Like,
I like little bits of plastic that I lose and crack off after like 3 games. I like my flamer templates. Although I don't think I've ever taken a flamer unit by choice in any game system. Sad. Flamer templates apart from Necromunda, but still.
The worst could be third gun template.
Oh, with little split pins. Yeah.
That was a classic. And what was the other crazy templates there were?
The Dark Imperium expand.
What was there? There's the one that was like I want to say it was a semicircle and it projected forward.
Yeah.
And then the other bonkers one was in Epic Space Marine 2nd Edition for the Eldar Wave Serpents. So you had...
Oh, because it's like the plough thing, didn't we? If you could
you had a plough. And any shot coming out the front, you had an armor save from that. But then you could release it as a weapon. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's just like, yeah, God. Oh yeah, too many flashbacks of crazy templates in boxes of... Literally, your expansion for Chaos was like, what, a booklet, and then all the unit cards, and then fucking templates galore of, like, blast markers and shit. It's just...
Yeah, the Dark Millennium box set for 2nd edition 40k, and just, like, opening up that... It's like a box set-sized box, and it's just weird chunks. It's just all card. It's all, like, mission cards, war gear cards, and psychic cards.
Wasn't there a template that was used? No, it wasn't in 40k. It was in Epic for the Tyranids, and it wasn't quite a spray template. It was like a spray
bubbly.
that had bubbles at the end.
Yeah, I remember that.
What the fuck is that? That was... I mean, that's kind of... It's a weird nostalgia that you go... There were so many weird templates for almost every weapon or psyche going, like, whereas we don't... I mean, yeah, they've simplified it, but how far is too simple? I don't know. I feel conflicted.
You want that bubbly template back. You want the cool little bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, with new Epic, the new name falls out of my head almost instantly after I read it.
Legions Imperialis.
Thank you, yeah.
No, sorry, is it Legions Imperialis?
Legio Imperialis.
Or is it Imperial Legions? No, it's Legions Imperialis.
Okay. I'm just salty that it's not got Xenos, because I've got my nice little...
I know!
I've got my Eldar
Same.
Epic army, and I bought some of the Aeronautica Eldar flyers, because they were cute.
Yeah.
And painted up in my Andrew
They're fucking amazing. And they're now...
And I've got a couple of knights I built using like modern 40k. And it looks cute, and I was all ready to go. And I was like quite proud of that thing. I'm ready for
Give me my fucking Eldar army for Epic right now.
I mean, they were around in 30k. That's fine. As long as depending on what wiki you read, there's stuff around. I mean, Eldar are pretty much as they are now, but some of the aspect temples have not been established and spread out. But that is fine.
They're a bit post-fucked in the head though, because they've had
a few hundred years. It's fine.
Since the fall, since Slanesh just ate like most of the race.
I mean, take Black Library with a pinch of salt if you care, but like there's a few Eldar encounters in there which is very much it's just Eldar.
I mean, orcs would be good.
Yeah, and again, orcs, nothing changed. In fact, to be honest, apart from Tower and Tyranids, you could bring most of the forces back. You could even bring Necrons back, because they were hopping around.
Yeah.
A great line in Infinite and the Divine, where it's like, oh, the humans and their silly civil war. So it's just mentioning passing.
What's another faction that would be really good in Epic at that time period? I'd like to see actually a Xenos army which doesn't exist anymore.
The Rangda. They were rampant. They basically took nearly 100 years to wipe out during the Heresy. I think every legion had to fight them. Nearly killed the Dark Angels. I think there's a few Xenos races would be really good,
Yeah.
especially if you have anything that scale. Yeah.
It's just a shame that, it's just a shame we don't, like, Aeronautica is essentially retired for now. I'm sure I'm sure they'll see it as a bit of a waste. I think, obviously, it's part of a, if you take a step back, it's because it's to stop brand confusion, because people go, well, this says Aeronautica, and that says Legions Imperialis, and that says Adeptus Titanicus. Why don't they work together? And they'll be like, but they do.
The models do. And I think it's a triple whammy where they're obviously putting quite a lot of hype, effort into this, and it's obviously going to be like big brand boxes. It's not going to be quite as small as, say, Aeronautica was, where it's just a little specialist game. This is going to be one of the big box games, and it does mean they can reuse all of those molds, or at least a fair chunk of those molds. And you look how much Games Workshop are spending on plastic molds.
I've still got, what the fuck are they called? Is it Storm Raptors? No. What's the
shooty one is the Storm Eagle. Oh, sorry, the Transport was the Storm Eagle, and the shooty one's the Fire Raptor.
Yeah, I've got those put together with the little sponsored guns.
Yeah, they're cute.
They are neat. I'm literally just, I think I just spray them a light grey, and then I hit them with Blood Angels red contrast, and it's like, done.
Like, Games Workshop don't shout about how beautiful it is painting epic scale models with contrast paints.
It's relaxing.
It's beautiful, because that's why I started doing my Eldar last year, because it was when I was moving house. I had nothing unpacked, and I just found like a little shoebox with some mild Eldar in, and all I had were like painted supplies with like a few contrast paints and white spray. So I just thought, fuck it, I fancy paint. Like sprayed that.
So the question is then, what Legion are you gonna do?
I really don't know.
I'm doing Blood Angels because I'm already all in on that.
Because I am a sucker. I have 3 Legions already in 40k. I've got White Scars up 3k. I've got Blood Angels up to 4k. I've got Emperor's Children up to 4k. And I've also got a Dark Mech army. I've got a problem. But the White Scars and Blood Angels have been painted and based in matching stuff, because I'm kind of going for a Siege of Terror. Next one for that would be Imperial Fist, so I can have the Siege of Terror kind of loyalist factions. And do I just bypass that and go for Imperial Fist for my...
Imperial Fist would look fucking cool in it.
Yeah, and I've painted my end, so I know that yellow contrast looks real nice on them.
Yeah.
So I'm quite tempted, but I think I'm going to buy some of the 3D printed ones on Etsy next week, because just get like a random pack of tanks like a for someone, just to do some paint tests.
Yeah, I've got like in the Epic box, because I'm going to keep all that. I was thinking, should I sell it? I was like, no, I'm going to keep that for playing Epic 40,000.
Those rhinos aren't that much smaller than the new ones as well, so...
No, but it's interesting because obviously when you increase a man by, let's just say he's increased by like 10% in height, that's 10% on every millimetre that he is in height. You do that on every millimetre within a Titan, you understand why things are as big as they are now.
Like the Warlord Towns are twice the size, isn't it?
It's huge. And tiles for the city train. It's interesting. Basically, they've already said they've just play 3,000 points on a first of all, how many models is 3,000 points? That's going to be 2 boxes
I'm going to guess the 2 factions are going to be both formations of 1,500 points.
Yeah,
and then you can combine them to 1 3,000 point army. Or I've got a feeling, but that's based on nothing.
It's based on nothing.
I mean, it's based on the Age of Darkness box, which if you have that box for yourself, you pretty much got an army in a box.
But they've said it's 4 foot by 5 foot, and I think that's because they're basically doing that kind of Adeptus Titanicus thing where you leave a foot over
for your cards
and shit. So to me, that says a 4 foot by 4 foot table is more than big enough for a game that doesn't take all evening. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm essentially going to aim for always playing, is that scale.
That's what I'm hoping for, because I'm getting a 4 foot by 4 foot board for my house.
Yeah, and I've got like I said, I've got shitloads of terrain because I've just built a whole load more for Adeptus Titanicus, which you have yet to play.
No, because I'm scared I'm going to like it and I have to buy another box set.
But remember, every Titan you buy is a Titan for Legions Imperialis.
A Titan's not just for Christmas, it's for Epic.
It's for Epic and for Adeptus Titanicus. Right. We will wrap up. The other things, gaming-wise, I've still yet to play War Machine, even though I've painted the starter ones. And there's some actual cool shit coming out soon. So at Gen Con, they are bringing out the 2 army boxes for the what are they called? Think, Chris, you write for the fucking company.
Brace too full of them. What's the serial box description of them?
They're basically dark elves, but it's Eos, but they went undead.
Okay.
They're called Dusk faction. So they've got new style. I say mecha, but they're war machines. They're what are they called? I can never remember the terms right now. Myrmidons, yeah, and weird elves. So they've got things that still look like elves, and they've got elves that have obviously gone full undead, and this is how they survived the death of their gods. So you've got that as a faction. And then the other faction, because War Machine Hordes now is a single brand as War Machine, is their first what I would call Hordes army, which is the new Trollkin army, which is the Brine Blood Marauders.
The pirates.
Which is the pirate Trollkin, and there's a fucking pirate model you can get, a warlock, who's got a starfish on their shoulder holding a fucking pistol. Cat's gone mad. And so that's really exciting. So I do need to put, it's like £135 basically for an army box. That's like, and it's a game where I need to have people that I can play against. It's kind of like, then I need to buy 2 armies. So I'm kind of waiting for the units to be individually available.
Yeah.
And right now it's more, I guess it's easier for them to just ship entire army boxes. So we'll see with that. Plus, I mean, game-wise though, rules-wise, I think it's still pretty much like 3rd edition, 2nd edition War Machine. The app is really nice now.
Yeah.
Games Workshop still is not that good.
I'm so, because I was playing around with the app when they did the free version of the 40k one, and it's quite nice. It's fine. It's good enough. But they've done the same thing. They've locked it behind Warhammer Plus, and they've locked all of the actual useful features behind owning the codex. And it's just, come on.
Well, the new one isn't behind the codex because they don't have any, but it is going to be locked behind Warhammer Plus, which I guess makes Warhammer Plus subscription more worthwhile than what Warhammer Plus is currently.
Yeah, just about.
The question is that going to be, this comes back to the comparison to War Machine, will that be the main way they deliver rules? Like, do you need to have a codex? At the rate that Games Workshop does errata, buying a codex feels fucking pointless. Like, because it just gets updated too quickly, and you're like, well, what's the point? Like, because
I've bought that Blood Angels Codex like 4 times now, 5 times now. I've got them all on I've got the Eldar Codex in a nice shelf, like straight from 2nd edition. Pretty much most editions away. Look quite nice on the shelf, but there's only so many times you can read like Fall of Their Own Hubris.
That's the thing. You can only read so many times, and so that kind of brings you back to the point of should a codex be something more narrative driven and have your painting guides and your tactics guides for that edition and specific scenarios. So maybe a bit more like with the Arcs of Omen books. I
was going to say, like, not to sound like a fanboy, but the 1st edition Horus Heresy, all their faction stuff were released as like campaign books, the back books, where you get like big campaign setting and then 3 faction rules in the back, and then a bit of added units for everything else just at the back. And it was a really nice way of doing it. Now, like, they were like £100 leather-bound tomes, and they did like a cheap £40 paperback, but literally nobody bought those. But I really like that as a rules delivery system, and the stuff like Arcs of Omen and the kind of every edition has been quite a nice way of having something similar to that. But that wouldn't be the worst way of delivering this. But then you end up in the same situation where with a lot of things where you end up having to carry 4 books for some faction you want to take. Yeah, well then that brings back to like, if you subscribe to an app that is actually always up to date, is that better? Because generally these days, I think back in the day, people were like, "Ooh, an app, but what if your phone's not charged? Or what if you don't have Wi-Fi?" And it's like these things have kind of been massaged away as issues. I think most of it comes down to whichever financial directors in charge of these decisions at Games Workshop looking at their bottom lines for printing books, printing cards, making models, and then going, okay, at some point the amount of money that's costing us to print these rules and the amount we're making is either not enough or too much.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. Literally cut it off. Or they'll look at the fact that 3D printing is taking over and other companies stuff's kicking on. And they go, okay, we need to make more money on the books, so we need to make sure they definitely need the books.
Yes, yeah.
To be pragmatic, Games Workshop do make most of their rules decisions and game design decisions based around the financial ramifications of it.
Well, yeah, obviously. Any company's going to do that. I mean, Games Workshop primarily does that. Other crazy shit. Oh my god. So you know how I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna paint. I'd love to paint some War Machine stuff. I've got to paint my Tyranids. There's that box there is just filled with Tyranids, and another. I've done 20 Termagants. There's another 20 on sprues because I've got twice the amount. And then I'm like thinking, how am I going to paint that? Oh yeah, that's going to be a spray and some contrast and done. Because I say real painting because real painters don't use contrast paints, do they? Of course they fucking do. So that there is the tiny version of that's the actual game piece size version of the Kingdom Death Ezra the Dead something.
Just for our listeners, this is a quite curvaceous model, and he says tiny, but this is
they're quite large.
It's about
I'm not
4 inches tall.
I'm not talking about that, but yeah, compared to so
there's a Space Marine's head is at breast height, which is
yeah. So I've got the gambler's chest has already started turning up in people's. I say turn up in people's mailboxes. No, it's far too big for that. It's bigger than the Kingdom Death box. So the Kingdom Death box is the same size. No, it's not. It's not.
It's pretty big.
It's twice the size of Leviathan in volume.
Yeah. You could fit a couple of large cats in there quite comfortably. Yeah.
Gambler's chest is that and half again, I believe, in size. Someone took a picture with their, I think, 5-year-old lying next to it, and they were like, this is the size of this box. And I was like, for fuck's sake. So that's arriving with some massive fucking miniatures in it, and a whole advanced campaign system, which I think is going to be really fun to play, because I haven't played Kingdom Death in a while, and it's much more fun in co-op. So there's about 50, I think something like about 30 or more miniatures of like this that have individual specific poses rather than being multi-part posable like original Kingdom Death. And then there's 3 large monsters and then basically a toddler's waiting card. Like
that's how you know it's a good board game.
It's a good board game.
That's how you know it's a good board game. If you've got enough cards if you put in a sack, you can beat some death with it. That's the best board game. Yeah, and I've already seen people like post up pictures of the Gambler. So have you seen the Gambler? So the Gambler's like this crazy dude that carries a ball made of people. So while it's putting Gambler's chest, you can hear us typing. This is getting, as always, very Bloodborne / Dark Souls.
Well, yeah. So it's this dude. He's got a ball made of people, and that is I want to say that's about a 70mm base.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's.
I don't know if they've got other pictures of it as scale.
It's Atlas, but with people ball.
And then the other stuff coming with it is like this weird crocodile that's made of fingers. And then there's Atnas, which is Evil Santa. And then there's some other bits that'll be. Oh, there's Atnas.
I feel like so many of the creature design for Kingdom Death is just putting random scary words into a hat and drawing them out. It's like, okay, it's a worm and he's got eyeballs for. Fingers,
and
fingers for spine,
and penises for toes, and
just
yeah,
bristling with breasts.
Bristling with breasts. Well, it's not that bad. I do have that model, but I don't have the one that has a skirt made of severed penises. That's Satan.
I wouldn't say this thing thinks it's Satan. I'd say it is Satan. Rat bastard! Satan is a deep shit.
She has a skirt of severed penises.
I love that Kingdom Death is just doing what people pretend that Slaanesh is about.
Yeah, right. Well, the thing because I've watched all of the 2 seasons of the most recent Berserk anime.
Yeah.
Because that's a main inspiration behind Kingdom Death, and I was like, Oh yeah. This is what it's about. Yeah, show me the good stuff.
Just cut straight to the source, because if you go to Berserk, then that's where Dark Souls and Bloodborne got their stuff.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's kind of going like it's
a shame.
It's a through line.
It's a shame the Dark Souls. I will say this every fucking time. The Dark Souls miniatures board game sucked donkey cock. It was shit.
Yeah, well, I've never played it, but from the hype that was up around it as it was coming out, and then everyone got their box set, and I've heard nobody talk about it afterwards.
So James got it. He got every fucking expansion with it, and he played it. And when he was living in Sheffield, I played it, and we went through the whole phase where you do a room, you kill the monsters that spawn there, then you do the next room, kill the monsters that spawn there, then you do the next room, kill someone, invariably die. You go back to the home base, you tick off one of your lives, sparks, whatever the fuck, spend your XP that goes through a deck of cards looking for ones that you might be able to use, because the deck contains all potential cards for all the character types. So you may not even get good draws of anything you can use, because you're not either, you can't use it or you don't have enough experience. So that's fun.
So they're just trying to
and then to get through to where you were before, everything respawns exactly the same way you had before. So you have to do the same rooms again with all the same monsters.
So they're just trying to replicate the loop of the video game, even the fact that the loop of the video game is fun because those encounters are fun. and you can feel yourself getting better at them each time, and that's the...
Whereas
that's
Kingdom
the point.
Death, if you fail at a hunt, you recover what you can, and you have to keep going on. So even though you might go, we're going to hunt the same monster again, how you get to the monster's different, because you have the whole hunt process, and the monster's AI cards might be different, which the Dark Souls miniatures board game does for the boss battle. But you don't have to do that grind to get there. The grind is every monster, every showdown monster, that is your grind. Your grind is to get through all 30 years of fighting horrific monsters if you get there. So I'm dead excited, because there's so many nice miniatures that I am waiting for. Like, oh god, can we see some bigger pictures on the internet of this? People can't see this, but I'm just like,
it's showing off now. It's fine.
There's just some horrible monsters. Some of these I haven't backed, but there's some which I have.
But no, like it was very telling after Dark Souls came out, because I'd never heard anyone talk about playing the game. I just saw the models pop up as like monsters in D&D games I was playing at friends' houses. I was like, that monster looks familiar. It's one of the Dark Souls ones.
It'll be great as a RPG. They're meant to be doing an RPG at some point.
I mean, that makes way more sense.
Oh, there we go. That's a cool one. So that is a lion armor set fighter. But as you can see, it's a more dynamic pose, whereas like the more original types were kind of like
that's just guts.
That's just guts. I've got guts. I've got the original version they did. That was kind of the guts.
Original
one.
character do not steal.
But the first ed miniatures were a bit more like this. So you can see that while they're multi-part and posable, they're still a bit static unless you really know what you're doing. Which comes back to the whole problem of the old multi-part posable Space Marines, where really there were only a few poses where you can make Space Marines look good, otherwise they'll look a bit dorky or tripping over things, which kind of is the rub between multi-part and mono pose versus that we have now with GW versus multi-part posable, because I kind of like what we have now.
To a point, yeah. Like, because the new Space Marines for the new Horus Heresy box, they've got 5 poses, which if you're having like 40 in your army, it gets a bit boring, and especially because I'm doing stuff like, because they're all Balkan Marines, I'm trying to give them like combat weapons. Spoilers, I think the unit's called for some reason, rather than Assault Marines. But the second you start kind of like playing around with spare arms and stuff, you fall into that trap where unless you have the arms in about 3 different poses, they just don't work with the way the legs are posed and where the head's posed. It's a delicate balance, but it does mean we're depriving the world of all the beautiful, really wonky Space Marines that everyone built when they were about 10, where they've just got guns pointing in the air.
Right, let's wrap up. I've not read anything Black Library. I hardly ever get a chance to like pick up something because I'm generally writing shit.
Last month I finished End and Death, the penultimate book in the Horus Heresy Siege of Terror by Dan Abnett, which is quite nice. It's quite good. I mean, at this point in the siege, it is unbelievably bleak and everything's awful and everything's on fire and basically half of Earth is in the warp now.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing. This is the first book because it's been like ongoing for the last like few Siege of Terror books, and this is the first one that you actually feel like nothing is like space has stopped working, time stopped working. People are like fighting battles for 50 years, and then turning a corner and realise they've only been a week. It's that level of messed up, and and he somehow managed to weave in a few surprises into the fact that the Emperor's going to beam to Horus's ship and fight Horus, and Sanguinius is going to be there and have a bad time. That was actually really good, and I'm very, very excited for the final part because it ends on probably where you expect it to. I've just finished the Lion, Return of the Lion into the era of 40k, and that again really good because as a Primarch, the Lion in the Horus Heresy books never really jumped out. He's always a bit bland and stern. Yeah. But they've actually done quite a good job of giving his own character on this, and he's a grumpy old man now.
I wonder what that's going to mean with respect to Cypher.
That's the next book. It's just I think it's out literally this week. That's why I wanted to read this. Cause,
I wonder what's going on with Cypher.
Because it's on the cover art. It's like the first 3 pages, but basically the Lion comes back. He's away from everything, and he's been guided towards the Fallen, and he's basically recruiting them.
Oh, cool!
Because he's basically spent the last 10,000 years in a pocket dimension that's not isolated from time, so he has aged. Because there's a fantastic, like it's about quite early on, like he's woke up, he's discombobulated, he's fighting one of the Fallen, going, "What's wrong with me? What ails me?" It's like, "My lord, you've aged. The years have played their toll,
dude. You fucking old."
But yeah, it's a damn nice little read, and it does a nice job of having quite high stakes with a very limited cast and crew of like just there's a chaos warband, there's a few scattered space marines, there's a Lion, there's a bunch of humans that are definitely going to die, and yeah, it's
fun. Let's think. I'm doing some roleplay writing currently for Cubicle 7 that I'm going to finish up like this week, I hope. That's all I'm going to say on that front.
Classified, just that beat.
Classified. But related, I have been dipping my toe every so often into playing some more Darktide. They've added some good stuff, so like environmental stuff, like it's actually really creepy, you know, when you go into a hab zone and it's misty and even darker and you can just see the yellowy green glow of Poxwalker eyes. And you're like, oh, that's a lot of eyes. You're like, heavy bolter, well not heavy, but bolt gun. I wish it was a heavy bolter. A bolt gun still does the job. No, it's still really good fun. It's a great little I say a great little game. It is a good game, and I do need to play some more of that. It is a graphics hog, but it is beautiful.
I was about to say, because my PC's getting. I can run Vermintide 1 and 2 okay, but I'm not tried.
I really want to sit and play again. This is all a question of like time, isn't it? It's like if you're not painting some toy soldiers, I'll be writing something. If I'm not writing, I should be playing a computer game. If I'm not doing that, I want to run some roleplay. So. What was it? I need to play some Total War Warhammer because that's like fun. Like that's a game that's just perfect.
Because I've been having the urge to reinstall Dawn of War 1 and 2.
Oh wow!
It's been a decade since I've done that, and
so yeah, that's where I'm up to with kind of like hobby related stuff. Like I say, Necromunda second half of the campaign's beginning, and I've read up the 2 expansion books that are the Necromunda campaign, like narrative campaign, and there's some fun stuff there to do as well. So that might be a campaign to do in the near future. But I think my main thing once Necromunda is wrapped up is it's got to be some Warcry. It's got to be a Warcry campaign.
I'm going to buy some. I'm doing it. You've got me.
I got you in, and I've got too many warbands. There's like too many warbands to choose from. So
I could make fair few warbands with the models I already have, but I'm looking at the Royal Beast Salt Beast Hunts or whatever they're called.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Royal Beast Flayers. I want the weird monkey. I want actual nice like fleshy Tikos models because those old ones are looking real rough now.
So yeah, to wrap up, what's an ultimate questionable hot take of wargaming right now?
It's not questionable. Everyone should just play Gaslands. It's the best game.
Yeah, you bought me the fucking book and miniatures. I've yet to fucking play it.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a great game that no one plays.
Yeah, because I got some. Yeah, because I did get some extra resin bits for it, so I do need to play it. I do need to sit down and just...
Anyone can play, just buy the book for like a tenner on Amazon, and then you just steal some Hot Wheels from a kid, paint it black, stick some guns on it.
Come up to a kid in the streets, punch him out, take his Hot Wheels.
It's small, you can take the Hot Wheels, it's fine.
Yeah, and God, I just like thinking I could do really easy paint job, but just like dirty down rust on.
That's
like
pretty much what I did on mine. It's really satisfying.
Fuck! I have to see how it compares. Yeah, actually, I really do. You do need to demo it for me because it'll be really interesting how that compares to Necromunda vehicles. I'm sure it's actually much better at what it does. My hot take is let's see. It's not really a hot take, but we need to play Batman miniatures game because I've got Batman and some Arkham guards. I've got Two-Face with some goons, and I've got the Joker with some goons and some escaped Arkham inmates, and I've got Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy with some plants, and Catwoman, all from the designs that the Arkham City, well, the Arkham computer game series designs. I just want to play that because on paper, Batman 3rd edition is actually really interesting. First edition sucked so much. Like, I have never seen a more complicated system. and second wasn't much better, so...
I mean, I do like the mechanic around, basically, the closer you are to light, the easier you are to hit. So
yeah. And everything's almost got an infinite range on guns. Yeah. It's all about being proximity to light.
Probably as I saw someone, their board they made for that, they built like this beautiful city board, and they'd put like actual LEDs in it, and like they were posing their phone, and they got like a little fog machine, and they were posing like using that as their reference. I'm like, oh, 6 minutes while there.
Yeah, and I've got obviously over there somewhere. They're gone. Oh no, they're behind up there somewhere. There's my buildings for it, which are like MDF buildings. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Yeah, so we'll start. What anyone's got other hot takes on shit? We'll mostly podcast. It'd be nice to do it monthly. We'll try and keep monthly as things come out and play some games and talk more in depth with, I guess, 10th edition and more Warcry would be good to talk about initially, unless we have to play Epic.
Yeah, we can speak with authority then after playing one game.
Yeah, we'll speak with authority after one game of 40k. That's the most authority you can ever have, is play one game and go, it's shit.
So you're going to say the post the title of it is like Games Workshop's worst game ever.
Yeah, right. No, and then I'll break your mind with Kingdom Death, because that box will be here, and I'll be like, here, let us play. Everyone's souls are trapped and are being assaulted by a legion of walking dildos, because that's basically the game. No, it's not that bad. It really isn't that bad. People have looked at it and go, you must be deranged for playing it. It's not.
Chris, how many booby ladies models are there in the box?
In that box? None.
No, oh, okay.
There's female figures, but they're not. There's no monsters covered in orifices. Okay. Actually, that's wrong, because it's the gambler with the ball making people. That's awful. And I will watch some more crazy anime to inspire my painting for it. I don't know what I'm going to watch after watching Berserk.
I recommend Baki. That's
what? Oh God. Oh no! I'll be watching more Hellraiser. That's what I need to watch more of. We've got the entire Hellraiser collection now. Every single Hellraiser film, and one of them stars Henry Cavill.
I think stars is a stretch. Henry Cavill is in it.
He's in it with some of the worst fucking dialogue. Though, if you want some really great dialogue, watch the Rutger Hauer film Split Second.
I've not seen that. Oh, okay.
Oh, you gotta watch the trailer first, and then watch the film. It's on Amazon right now. You can watch it. You can watch it tonight. It's beautiful.
I love a bit of Rutger.
It's set in London, and we will do some roleplay at some point, because I want to get back into playing. I want to do Imperial Maledictum.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I still need to play Morgborg as well.
And Cyborg. Oh, and I need to get on. I need to talk to. I need to interview Thomas Pernin about Trench Crusade, which is a nice kind of gothic World War I war game. I've got a miniature from that coming because I backed the Kickstarter.
Is it historical?
No.
Okay.
No, it's literally trenches and crusade. It's just called that. It looks it's kind of got that whole Turnip 21 kind of look, but with more goth, less turnips.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, you know where to find us, Dark Days Radio, just darkdays@gmail.com. If you want to listen, if you want to look at pictures, you can find my threads. You can find us all on threads as well, actually. You can find us on Instagram. You'll find all the links in the show notes. You'll find Mark's link in the show note to his conversions and minis and painting.
Noctilith Paintworks.
Noctilith Paintworks.
I don't paint on porcelain there anywhere near as much as I should, but there's stuff on there.
And very soon I'll be painting more boobies from Kingdom Death. That's really what it's about. No, it really isn't. I keep insisting it's not. It fucking ain't. Oh, you can have this actually, because I've got a spare of this. You can have a Kingdom Death Kingsman.
Thank you.
I've already got one.
And I'm going to use contrast paints on it.
Oh, how dare you use contrast?
Heretic.
Heretic. Right, we're going to stop it there, so bye.
Cheers, bye.